Hello everyone and welcome to the My Greek Island podcast with your hosts Maria Petrakou
and George Tsunias. So in today's episode we're talking all things Athens Authentic Marathon. So if you're going to do any marathon, Athens needs to be on your bucket list as it is after all the original.
And I'm not sure if you noticed, but we sort of switched roles today. And that's because this episode is all about George. So I've taken the role of the interviewer and you are the interviewee. So one thing that if you know George, you know, but if you don't and you've not figured it out already, he's not someone that likes to share things openly, and he's someone you need to probe to get things out of. So today, there might be a few compliments flowing around, and I definitely know there's going to be hashtag awkward moments. And he might even cringe at times, but oh well.
Yeah, it's also going to be an episode that's going to serve like a good memory for me to listen back to, as I am fresh from doing the marathon. Emotions are still high. So I am really excited about this episode, as I am with all the episodes, but this one in particular.
So am I, George. I can't wait to hear about your experience because we actually haven't really spoke about it much, just through messages and a bit of voice messages here and there. So this is going to be where I'm going to hear about it as well.
Yeah.
All right. So without further ado, let's get into today's episode. Hello. And welcome to another episode of the My Greek Island podcast, dedicated to take you, the wanderlust, on a journey through Greece.
There are 227 inhabited Greek islands. Which one will you visit next?
My Greek Island, with your hosts George and Maria. Kalimera, George, or should I say Kalimera, Marathoner?
Kalimera, Maria.
How are you?
I'm good. My legs are killing me. They're on fire, but I am good. 3 days after the marathon, feeling good.
Well, I'm glad because, I recall the video of you trying to get down the stairs the day after, and I was like, stairs. My God, he must be in a lot of pain. Now, some of our listeners might be thinking that you actually ran the Athens Marathon, so we could actually have this episode. Shows dedication, doesn't it, hun? So, are you ready, George, for me to start asking you questions?
I'm
Amazing.
Ready.
Okay, so first question is, why the Athens Marathon, and how did this all start?
So, the Athens Marathon, as much as I'd like to say it's because of the dedication for the podcast, it's not true. Sorry to burst that bubble. So, the Athens Marathon is the authentic, the original. The word marathon actually comes from the name of the town, Marathon, where the start of the race happens. And it's inspired by, do you know this, Maria? It's inspired by an ancient Greek legend of a messenger who is said to have run from Marathon to Athens, so 42-point-something kilometres, to bring the news of a Greek victory over the Persians at the Battle of Marathon.
Oh, wow. Can we quickly say here, though, how you pronounce marathon in Greek?
So the word marathon or the town marathon?
The town.
So the town is Marathonas. So it starts in the town of Marathonas, and the marathon itself, the Athens Authentic Marathon, is perhaps the most difficult major marathon race. As I learned, the course is uphill from the 10-kilometre mark all the way to the 31-kilometre mark, and it has the toughest uphill climb of probably any major marathon. So, yeah, it's my first ever marathon. I started with Athens. I never set out to run a marathon, believe it or not, for all the people who know me. And it was actually one of my best friend's ideas, also by the name of Maria, when at the start of 2022 was like, let's do it. We can do it.
Just to be clear, that's not me. It wasn't my idea. It was another Maria's idea.
It was another Maria.
So kudos to the other Maria.
Hi, Maria. And she was, it's going to be such a fun experience. We're going to push our limits, change our lives. So, Maria, thank you, Manamu.
Amazing. I had no idea, though, that it's such, like from the 10-kilometer mark to the 31st kilometer mark, it's uphill. I had no idea. That must have been extremely difficult.
Yeah, it's not like it's a steady incline. So it's not like big hills, but it just, for 21 kilometers, is just going uphill, like slowly. And your legs, they either crumble or they keep going.
Wow. Moving on, tell our listeners if you've always been a sporty person. I mean, you have since I've known you, but how far back does that go, George?
Well, actually, I never was a sporty person. I never fitted the typical sports, football or rugby at school. Actually, I used to run away from the rugby ball because it was a bit violent for me. I can laugh at it now, but it wasn't quite funny at the time.
Of course.
So I'd never found there was a space for me. And running is inclusive for everyone. You just need the willpower, determination, and the commitment. And if you look up the definition of a runner, it doesn't mean you have to be a sporty person. It doesn't mean how far you run, how many kilometers, there's no time, all body types. So, and how I got into it is I have a really good friend, Claire, who started running maybe like 10 years ago. So hi, Claire. She always used to invite me to a running club. I think I went once or twice. And then one year, I was just like, put some shoes on. No joke, I bought some cheap shoes for around 30 euros. They're not the best. I was like, I'm going to do 5K and see what I can do. And I did it really slowly. My feet really hurt. So lesson learned to get proper running shoes. And then I kind of got the bug and started. So I guess I have Claire to thank. So Claire and Maria. So yeah, the rest, as they say, is history. And here we are today.
Amazing. And I don't know if any of you have caught up, but George had created a specific account called The Road to Athens on Instagram in order to document his journey of the marathon. So if you're not following him, go and give him a follow. It's a really nice account, especially if you enjoy running. It's a great account. So George, describe your journey to your road to Athens.
My road to Athens. So as soon as we decided, so with my best friend Maria, we were going to run it, we decided to do the marathon. I was recommended a remote coach. So big up Dimos, who's actually based in Cyprus. I had a remote coach, and without him, I probably wouldn't have been able to do this. And for people listening, it probably sounds really pretentious, like, oh, he's got a coach, look at him. But it's actually probably cheaper than a monthly gym subscription. And he basically gave me the program each week, supported me, believed in me when I couldn't believe in myself, as cringe as that sounds. But you can actually do it without a coach. You just need to have a good plan in place, and you can get lots of stuff online. So that's how we started over a period of 6 months training.
Yeah, I remember you used to get your program every week, and you used to look at it and make a plan in your head when you needed to run and how you were going to eat and how you're going to be exercising. So it's great to have someone to feel accountable to and help you through that journey, right? And and feel that you've got someone helping you to it. So I don't think I would have been able to commit to a training plan by myself without someone, helping me get to the point that's also a professional. Exactly.
And it's the accountability. He's a triathlete in Cyprus. And it worked really well for me.
Okay, so tell me what the training was like.
So, you know me, I'm very, very organised and a structured person.
No!
I like a plan. So that is, what the plan said, I did, almost to the letter. So each week would be a mix of light jogs, sprints, longer runs, and there'd be some core exercises. We did actually start off with 5 times a week, which was too intense. And after 2 or 3 weeks in, I was like, we need to take it a notch down, or I'm never going to complete. So we settled at around 4 times per week. It was a gradual increase, so you don't straight away run. You don't run a full marathon anyway in the training. You run up to around 32 kilometers, which when I started, I was like, this is never going to happen, but it actually did. And towards the end, I was running around 60 kilometers a week, which, it takes a lot of commitment, and you have to structure your life around that, actually, if you want to make it work.
That is true. And even when it comes to recording this podcast, with the structure that we had to have in order to accommodate his running schedule.
Yeah, my weekends were gone. I was like planning around the weekends. Running.
And also, I've really, really missed you over these past over these past 6 months. I lost like my Saturday buddy of walking through London because you were running instead. But no, it was truly admirable to see your training journey and your progress. And your dedication and your commitment was just mind-blowing for me.
I don't even know where it came from, to be fair. So, yeah, I'm still in shock.
Well, it came from somewhere, clearly.
It came from somewhere, yeah.
And I think the fact that you had made the decision in your mind, you had your schedule, you are very scheduled. So the fact that you had a schedule to stick to did help you. And the fact that you had already made the decision, I think you were 50% there already. It was just a matter of getting through the training.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that our listeners have heard the episode, The Voices Behind the Podcasts, and they already know that you are obsessed with your music.
I am.
So I have a question. Did you ever get bored running, or was Anavisi keeping you company?
A lot of people actually ask me, like, do you get bored? And I get really bored easily. I don't really watch films. I find it hard to... All those Spanish programs you try to get me to watch, I can never really start them. I get bored easily. But with running, I actually run free. There's no music, no gimmicks, which I don't know how. I actually don't listen to any music. I don't think I've ever listened to Anna on a run, to be fair, or any type. And I can run for maybe 3, or now I did 5 hours, nearly 5 hours, and not get bored. So maybe it's a form of my meditation.
It is. It's definitely a form of meditation.
And I can't meditate in the traditional way because I get, if I do all the breathing exercises and I get bored and I'm like, oh, what are we doing now? So
you were doing a breathing exercise to get through that marathon.
True. Yeah.
So I think that there's a misconception about meditation in general, that it has to be sitting down cross-legged, your fingers need to be your hands need to be in a specific position, sitting on your knees, and you need to be breathing through it. I think that anything that effectively makes you focus on what you're doing in that moment and being fully present that's a form of meditation.
Yeah.
So, moving on, what would you say has been the hardest part?
So the hardest part, honestly, some of these answers are a bit like cringe, but the self-doubt, and I'm a paranoid person. Injury and sickness paranoia was so real, especially towards the end. It was really hard for me mentally to be like, I'm going to get injured, I'm going to get sick if I go here, if I go there. I really didn't expect that, and that's probably just my own personality. And another hardest part for me, I said that at the start of the year, Maria kind of coerced me into signing up to it and us doing the marathon together. And when she dropped out due to injury, it was very hard that we weren't going to be doing it together, as it was like a shared experience. So that was also hard, and hopefully I'll be there cheering her on when she does it in the future.
Yeah, the difficulty towards the end, the first one that you said about stressing about getting sick, because I got to see it firsthand.
Yeah.
I didn't find it at all unreasonable, and I found it so normal. And I think you just needed a bit of a push to actually accept that, I need to just accept that this happens, and
embrace
it's part
the
of the process.
Yeah.
And just do what you need to do to keep yourself sane. Okay, what would you say you enjoyed the most?
Okay, so the thing I've enjoyed the most, and probably something I will maybe take moving forward, is I have enjoyed pushing myself to the limit, and there is a form of kind of control and discipline that comes into your life. I'm not sure to the extent I did towards the end how healthy that is, and for a long period. But maybe it was having that purpose and that goal. I know when I signed up with my coach, Dimos, he was like, you need to have a goal. And I was like, I'm not used to just setting like, running goals and stuff, but actually having that purpose to work towards has been really good, and I've enjoyed that. I also say I have enjoyed my stint on Instagram at the Road #2 Athens account, engaging with friends, family, and I actually can't believe, I can believe because I have really good friends and family, I'm not saying that, but the amount of like love I received before and during and after the marathon itself is like very overwhelming. I was like, I feel like I'm getting married or something, all these messages, I can't reply to everyone. So yeah, I did enjoy that. I was like, yeah.
And I think it took you some time to actually digest all the messages that you had received,
and
right?
And people were messaging me after, and I was like, I put up a thing on Instagram, like, I will get back to you all soon, because I just wasn't, I wasn't expecting, I was like just overwhelmed with everything, like just having finished the run and everything else, and so
you were still trying to process those 42 kilometers that you got through, let alone respond to everyone's messages. And I don't know how many bloody voice messages I left you.
Oh yeah, the voice messages. Oh god, yeah.
I was actually talking to him through the race because I was I was watching the journey, and when he would slow down or at some point, I was voice messaging saying, "You can do it! Come on, keep going, keep going." Although he couldn't hear the messages, I thought it would be fun for him to listen to afterwards. I heard that there was constant music throughout the entire marathon.
Oh, there was. Yeah, I mean, the marathon, for the actual marathon itself, I did enjoy the crowds. There was at various parts at the start, there was some Greek dancing going along the road. That was really cool, like Zorba the Greek and stuff. There was lots of encouragement. Towards the end, it's like very iconic, and you finish in the original Olympic Stadium, the Gallimarmaro, and that moment is meant to be magical. I was just so exhausted that I didn't really absorb that energy. I just wanted to finish. But when I looked back, I was like, oh my God, this is incredible. And I think a lot of people travel to it for that. It is, I can't put it into words really. Yeah, it's just overwhelming.
What sacrifices do you think you made in order to be able to do this?
Another cringy analogy I'm going to give is those things you see on Instagram or online of the iceberg, and it's what you see is the tip and everything below. But it is really true around all the sacrifices, and what you see and everything below is what's going on. So look, I am single, so any eligible bachelors out there, I'm quite flexible in my personal life, so I cannot say I was juggling a million things, but still things had to take a backseat. I had to say no to a lot of things. I had to drop out of many sort of events towards the end because my paranoia got, the better of me. I was freaking out about getting ill or being injured. So I think, they're the sacrifices that I made, and obviously all my friends will understand because I always turn up to things and always there for them. But on this occasion, a few weeks towards the end, I had to be like, sorry.
Yeah, you did really learn to say no, and he's single. Drop into his DMs.
Ready to mingle. Oh God, yeah.
#awkward. Right, you've done all the training.
I have.
You've done all the hard work, and now you're running the marathon. You're literally there. Tell me about the authentic experience.
Yeah. So it's hard to, when I was planning this, it's hard to know where to start. Quite honestly, it's probably one of the hardest and now the most rewarding experiences of my life. As I said before, the ending of the marathon in the Gallimarmaro, the Olympic Stadium, is all you can think about the whole time from the start to the finish. As I was physically, mentally just exhausted from about halfway through. And personally, I was lucky because I saw some family towards the end. It really helped me basically boost me for those last 700 meters. And as soon as I crossed the finish line, and I've got the official pictures that I'm going to download, I literally burst out crying. I was like, oh. I was wearing these big glasses so no one could see. But yeah, I mean, warning for people that, our listeners, because we have listeners from all over the world now. It can be quite hot in November, as I found out. And there is a reason why Athens is one of the toughest routes, and it's all about the hills. So as I said at the start, around 21 kilometers of hills. what I loved about the experience, as well as it being the authentic and original, I did actually meet people from all over the world. And I didn't expect to see so many people. I thought it was going to be mainly Greeks, which it was, but people from all over the world. And one of the biggest moments and best moments for me was at one point, maybe halfway through, I saw this lady that was running the marathon with a wheelchair and pushing this gentleman up in the wheelchair. And I actually stopped and took a picture because I was just like, this is so inspirational. And there was people cheering her on. And I was just like, wow, like I'm struggling, but you're carrying, carrying someone up it. And it was just such a great moment for me.
Can we say her name? Can we say her name?
So her name is, so it's Asimina Igglezou, I think. Igglezou, yeah. I didn't know who she was, so I found her number and I looked her up on Instagram. So she was amazing. And there were other people that were doing that, not just her, but I didn't see anyone else, so I didn't capture anyone. It was just in that moment where I needed boost. She
Katerina Katopis, who we've mentioned as a person that I would love to interview on this podcast, also ran like Asimina with a wheelchair. And that specific girl that she raced with also had her dog. And I think Katerina also accompanied someone who was 91 years old and has been running marathons all of his life.
Yeah, there was one,
which I found, I was just so, I get goosebumps even thinking about it. So I think that is amazing.
Amazing, yeah.
Anyway, moving on. I love my tips and tricks, so let's turn it on you now. Let's get some tips and tricks in there, George. What advice would you give someone, one of our listeners, who would want to train for the Authentic Marathon?
Okay, so some of these tips are going to be generic, but some are going to be specific, because I did have the tips and tricks in mind when I was out there sussing things out. My main thing, as I said, is setting your goal and having a plan. That is, very key to success of any sort of marathon or race. Then invest in the gear. So indulge yourself in some good running shoes, good clothes, a watch. And specifically for the Athens Authentic Marathon, I would make sure that you train on incline. So have a look at the route, train on incline, and also train in the heat. So depending where you are in the world, that might be a bit of a challenge. But, I wasn't expecting it to be so warm in November. Another thing in terms of accommodation, now most of the people will be taking a bus. There's buses that ferry people from the centre 42 kilometres out to the town, the starting point of Marathónio. And those buses start off at around 5:30 a.m. So it's a really, really early start. It's very well organised, but we decided to stay near the starting point in a town called Neamakri. You can see it on the maps, around 7 kilometres from the starting point. And the hotel actually had a shuttle bus in the morning, and the shuttle bus didn't leave until about 7:30, 7:45. So actually you've got a bit of a longer lay-in in the morning, a longer time to prepare, and you just get ferried in, it's like 10-minute shuttle bus ride. And I would highly recommend that. I would not be getting the bus at 5:30 a.m. And that would be my top tip. And then finally, I would say believe in yourself, because you can do it. Oh, actually, there is another thing, is along the route, I forgot, and I actually picked one up. Along the route, there's people giving out little olive branches. So I've got my olive branch. So maybe you need to make sure you have like a pouch or somewhere you can hang it. My stepdad, who also ran the marathon, he had nothing to carry it with, or he was like, it might add extra weight. It's literally so light, but it's going to be my memory. I'm going to frame it probably, or get a tattoo of it, of the olive tree, of a little olive branch. So yeah, make sure you pick one up. That would be my advice.
Let's get inked, George. Let's get inked.
Yeah, let's get inked.
That's a really great tip about Neamagri, because clearly on that, I don't know if you managed to sleep the previous night
I didn't sleep. I was like, yeah.
So those extra that extra 2 hours of being able to lie in, or hour and a half that you can lie in, would help your body rest at least, even if you're not fully sleeping.
Exactly. And the other thing in Naumachli, there was lots of pasta places, because you usually carb load before. Lots of good pasta places and good prices. And if the weather is nice, you can go swimming on the beach there the day before, and it's just a bit more, I think it's just a bit nicer than getting a 5:30 a.m. coach, or I think the coach goes till 6:30 a.m. But it's just a very early start.
Yeah. You said you could have a dip before the marathon, but you were having dips after the marathon to calm your muscles, weren't you?
Yeah. So apparently, cold water swimming. So people do ice baths after races or sports events. Obviously, on the marathon day itself, we weren't able to do it because it was just overwhelming with everything going on after. But the day after, we did go down to the beach, to the Athens Riviera, which I would highly recommend staying in Athens a bit longer. And if the weather is good, like it is now, it's around 20 degrees, you can go to the beach. There are winter swimmers. You can, get a little tan, go for a little dip. It's cold, but, if you run a marathon, anything is possible. Impossible is nothing, as they said along the route. There was things like impossible is nothing.
Was there banners all down the route saying?
There was lots of banners. I mean, there are areas of the route where it's quiet because you're going through rural areas. But there are banners. There are music and everything. So.
All right, are you ready for the quick fire round?
I am. It's going to be quick.
Okay, let's get into it. Tell me what your favourite memory was.
So my favourite memory of the training, because I'll do about the training, is actually the training I did whilst on holiday with you, Maria, when we were in Kythnos. I did love running in the island of Kythnos. It did have lots of hills, and it really helped sort of the whole preparation. And another memory that I will forever cherish is my entourage in Athens, the people that followed me actually physically in Athens and the people remotely. That favourite memory, yeah.
Amazing. Worst moment or moments?
Yeah, so the aches, the pains, the doubts that, that creep in, even if you tweak your back, or you would, when we went on holiday, I stepped on like a little branch or a little twig, and I thought my foot was going to be injured, and it was like 4 months to go. I was like, that's it, I won't be able to do the marathon. We need to get a needle to take this out. And you're like, can you calm down?
Yeah. Yeah, it's so true. You did panic a bit more than you should have, but understandable, I would say. Okay, would you do it again?
So, the medal itself, every year there's a letter assigned to it. So this year was the letter R, and marathon is 8 letters. So to get the full set, you need to do 8 marathons. So there's 7 more to go. So I did say I was never going to do it again. I'm already thinking about 2023 and trying to get people to join the journey. So who knows? I might do.
It was the first thing that you thought of the moment that you finished it. You're like, okay, Athens Marathon Authentic 2023. And I've actually had a few listeners DM whether I'm going to be joining you. No, I'm not.
Yep. One of your friends actually was like, should we try and get Maria to do it? Because the night before there is a 10K night run. So maybe, Maria, you could do the 10K night run, start off,
Let's start with a 5K, George,
5K,
and then we'll talk about
5K,
10K, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. So what's next?
Well, you know what's next. My next challenge, what I would like to do is to climb Mount Olympus.
Oh my God.
So that's another challenge. So let's see if we can do it. And that would be dedication to the podcast.
I forgot about that one. And that one does include, and that one unfortunately does include me.
Yes.
Oh no. Okay. One thing you wish someone had told you before.
Paranoia. So the paranoia.
It's a thing. It's real, isn't it?
It is real. I mean, you've lived it firsthand. It does take over your life. Well, for me in any way. I guess I would probably say you just need to embrace it and control what you can.
And what would you say someone needs in order to get past paranoia? Do you think they need a Maria to just whip them back into?
Yeah, actually need some friends to just be like, you need to calm down, or just be like, accept how you're feeling, do what you need to do, and that's fine. Yeah. You
need at least a few people that you can
don't get me wrong, I had lots of support, but I think you need some people to be like, yeah, that's fine, or just we understand. And so, yeah.
Yeah, I think there was one moment when I said to you, okay, what you're feeling is valid. It's okay. Like, it's okay.
Yeah.
And I think that was difficult for you at times to accept, that it's okay to feel like, to panic that you don't want to get ill or whatever. It's okay.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like, especially after having sacrificed so much and been training for so long, of course you don't want to get ill before the marathon.
Yeah. And the likelihood of getting ill before is probably not that much, but you just think like, oh, I'm going to get ill anywhere I go, you know, so it's, yeah.
Okay, so we're done with the quick fire round.
Yes.
And you had posted a question round on Instagram, so we've gathered the questions, and so the next block is actually questions from our listeners.
Oh, okay.
Some of them you know because you've seen them and you gathered them, and some of them came directly to me. Ooh. Okay, so should we get into this? You ready? Amazing. Okay, so will you still be getting up ridiculously early next year on the My Greek Island trip?
Yes, that's a yes.
Hopefully this year I'll be getting up with you.
Yes, exactly, and you'll be taking some footage instead of me having to perch or put the camera in somewhere so I can get my footage.
I'll be following you with the drone. Did this marathon change your life?
We will find out. I hope so. We'll see. We will see.
Okay,
Time will tell.
I'll follow up on that,
Yeah.
and we'll ask that on a subsequent episode. Was there a point during training or the race where you felt you were close to giving up?
I was never going to give up. The only point I was not close to is when I got injured. I had some problems with my calves. I thought, oh, if this gets worse, you know, you have to listen to your body as well. And there's a quote, one body, many marathons. During the race, I was never going to give up. I did think at one point, like halfway through, I can't do this, but I need to get out of this situation by completing. I'm not going to be one of those that unfortunately have to go on the bus back. So I was never going to give up. I struggled. It broke me, but it didn't beat me.
Okay.
It's such awkward, cringe phrase, but it's true.
I've heard from a few. I've been reading a few posts on Instagram about people that completed it, and you know how at some point they felt that they could not go on.
Yeah.
And the only thought keeping them going was the fact that their family was waiting for them.
Exactly.
At the finish line, and that they planned to make the finish line.
And I think having all that support, I was like, I can't let people down. I can't be like, stop here, and then people are like, oh, you didn't make it, and like, you know. But yeah, no, I was always going to do it, even if I was going to walk.
We knew you were going to make it. There was no way that you weren't going to make it. I mean, as you said, even if you couldn't run it, you would have walked it. You were going to get there. Okay. Top 3 things that made you smile during your marathon.
Okay, so the first one was towards the start where they played Zorba the Greek. I was laughing so much. I was like, yay! The other thing, you know, the wheelchair, the lady pushing that up. And actually there's 4. The third one is seeing my aunt and my cousin who were like, you know, going wild. And then the finish line. It made me smile and cry at the same time.
Oh, and by the way, the person that sent this question also added, so proud of you.
Oh, heart.
Okay, highlight and low light.
The highlight was the end, like going past the finish line. The low light is when the first time I had to stop and walk a little bit. That was a low point because I knew mentally, as soon as you start walking, it's really hard to run again, like for the full thing. So yeah, that was a low point.
Yeah. Was it easy to get to the start?
Oh, that must be from a My Greek Islander because it's asking for some tips. Yeah, so there's the 5:30 a.m. Shuttle service that takes you there. But if you go to a hotel in Nea Makri, you can get a shuttle, but you'd have to call the hotel to find out they're offering that. So yeah, it's relatively easy to get to the starting point. There's lots of facilities there, and yeah.
How hot was it on the day?
It was actually it was over 20 degrees, I think, at one point, and there was no clouds and there was limited breeze. So I've never done this before, but I was literally getting bottles of water and pouring them over my head. I was so hot. I think that's a culmination of nerves, anxiety, everything together, but it was very hot, very hot. Yeah.
And what was the atmosphere like?
So it was electric, especially at the end. The crowds, when you enter the stadium, I have got a video of it as well because I wanted to look back on it, which is really annoying because all the official pictures are towards the end where I'm holding my phone, and I'm not really holding my phone anywhere else on the route. But yeah, it's electric, and like they're cheering you on, and random people shouting your name because they can read your bib, which probably means I was going so slow that they could actually read it in time. So yeah.
Oh, that's so nice.
But there's something to be said about doing the authentic one. So mission accomplished.
Yeah, I honestly wish I had been there. I wish I had been able to come. And I know that you said come after, there's no point in being there. But I actually, on the day, I felt that I wanted to be there and to actually be at that finish line. And I even dreamt about it, that I had a dream the previous night that I said to you, that I texted you, and I was like, George, I'm going to be at the finish line. I'm going to be waiting for you to, la la. And then I woke up and I was like, oh, I'm still in London. This is not really where I'm meant to be. But I am committed that if you do go again next year, You'll will come. I will be
with
there.
Banners and whistles.
With banners and whistles. I'm not going to run, but I will be there. And I think that sums up the questions from our listeners as well.
Yeah.
So let's close the episode with the Greek word of the day. So I'm going to let you choose it, and it needs to be relevant, of course.
It's going to be the word for marathon in Greek, not the town, the actual marathon. It's called Marathónios. So Marathónios, and if you want to say I ran the marathon, because you could be visualizing you completing a marathon, Έτρεξα τον Μαραθώνιο. Is that correct?
Amazing. That is correct. That's
Έτρεξα
correct.
τον Μαραθώνιο. I ran the marathon.
We will add that to the description of the podcast with a phonetical breakdown, as we always do. So, George, I think that's the end of this episode. Thank you so much for sharing your experience on
Thank you for having
Marathon.
me. And see you on another episode.
And I'm looking forward.
Yeah,
I'm looking forward to you taking your role back and introducing the podcast.
Me too.
Right, my Greek Islanders, this comes to the end of another episode